Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar about Impact Design 16. I'm hoping that everyone is here and that everyone can hear me. If not, then raise your hand or write something in the chat, and then we can see if we can figure it out. So it seems like everyone is here. And today's, as I said, webinar will be about new features in Impact 16 in AutoCAD and BricsCAD. This webinar will be held by me and my colleague Oskar, which are from the Danish department. So the rough agenda here in this webinar is split into three areas. The new slabs improvements in Impact 16, new features we have on the plan drawing, and new features we have on shop drawings. And after these three, what you say, subjects, there will be time for questions if anyone have any. This webinar will be around 30 to 40 minutes. My colleague Oskar will start with the slabs improvements.
Yes. Welcome. First of all, I want to show you that we have added two Endcaps for the slabs. And reinforcement boundary, similar to the functions we have in walls. Also, you have the option to add reinforcement to the Endcap from the get-go. Okay. Next thing I want to show you are the some features in the definitions for slabs. And if we take a look at the slab definition here. And the first thing that we want to show you are that now you have the option to add a standard end caps, both between elements and other end caps, instead of adding them afterwards when you have made the slabs. Then we have made it so that you can override the strand patterns and make it user defined. I'll just show you here if I do like this and draw. And if we press these buttons here, we get this pop-up. And just by clicking on the strands, you can see that they turn green if they're active and white when they're not. So we can say that we want to have a specific pattern for this specific element, then we can do that in a very user-friendly way. Just press OK. Yes. Now I will draw a slab for you. And we'll just change something here, saying that we want the strands to be like this. And we press OK. Then we use the shape, and we only want to select the area inside. This could be holes for whatever columns or whatever. So we can select internal points and select here inside this. And as you can see, the cutouts and everything is selected by that. And the end caps are shown straight away. So you have the Endcaps, you have a curvature, and the holes cut out in straight away in the elements. We have added a function that's called draw connection. And we have a new button here that when you press that and then you select an element, you can choose. I have added two types, one with a custom material and one with a reinforcement bar. We just take this with the custom material. Then we can say that we want to add somewhere a connection somewhere here at, along the sides, but we want to have a multiple option. Then we can add that to. You could say that maybe 1200 is a little bit short distance, and we want to change that. We say a distance. We want to have it 600 from the start and the end, and we want to have 2400 between the connections like this. Yes. Like this, yeah. Enter. Now we have the connection quick and easy to the element. We'll just draw two walls here. And we'll save this one. And as long as the walls are parallel, we can split them. And we want to have that gap is to be 20. And we say that we want to have here. And as you will see, that the original wall keeps its name as the first element in the wall, and you can cut the parallel walls into the same shapes, same sizes. So that saves a lot of time by doing that.
Yes, and I think that was everything Oskar wanted to show. But I also have some things I would like to show. So one of the first things and cool stuff that we have added is the possibility to, what you say, draw the elements based on a polyline, the outline of the walls. So let's say that we have what you say, some walls in this this particular shape or something like that around here with the outline. Then instead of drawing the walls like we, what you say, normally do, or what you say in Impact, we can use the new function up here called draw wall outline and base, what you say, the walls, just like Oskar did on the slabs down here, base it on the polylines. So when I click on this function here, I of course have to choose which type of wall I want to draw. Just take my sandwich wall. I can choose the definition I want to use, how, of course, how my inner panel should be. Then I have four options, sorry. Either I can do a window, I can do internal points, I can do polyline or points. So if I do internal points, I just click here in the middle as Oskar did, then it will take a reference in the polyline. As you can see here, the polyline turns green. I want to continue, of course. Choose how much my gap should be between elements, if I have any elements I want to split, because this is also a function I can use to split the walls. Choose my end cap. Let's see here, don't we have a straight end cap here, like this? And then we can see here I have the possibility to either click where I want my walls to be split, or I can also say this one down here, where it takes all what you say corners of the polyline. So right now it will make a wall here, 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 from corner to corner. So I can also say that I want to split it here, and I want to split it here also. So the cool part of this function is that when I split my walls, or not when I split walls, when I create my walls based on this one here, it actually not only adding what you say end caps at the end, it also add end caps here at the corner connection. So if I go into my properties of my wall here and go into end caps, then we can see here we have a corner connection. This corner connection here is what you say automatically generated, and will have a name of the definition and then a running number, just like we have under connect edge, if anyone knows that. That function also create what you say an automatic end cap. The only what you say downside, or what you would call it, by automatically creating this end cap here, is that we will have to add level 1 in here, because this here is not generated. So you will have to put in what you say the end cap picture and add the measures you want to be shown on the shop drawing. So what this function here also allows people to do is, if I just move this one here, so we can create the same what you say boundary walls here. So this one here actually also allows, I'll just take a solid wall for this one, allows the user to create L-shaped walls. I don't know how many of what you say you are doing L-shaped walls, but I'll just say none here. So what I will do is I can, of course, choose my corners, choose where it should be split. Instead of choosing my corner here, I would rather have my element to go like this. So right now, my element will not be split in the corner, in that particular corner, but it will create an L shape. We can just make one more here if we want, like this. Then it will create an L-shaped element up here. And this is maybe a bit too, what you say, big L-shaped element, but it's just an example. So the principle is the same. What the element, what impact does is that it goes in and creates an end cap at the corner or at the L shape. So you have actually, in theory, a big end cap at the end. So this function here is pretty nice at making L-shapes elements, because you don't need to go in and define the length of the L-shape here of the end cap, how big it should be. It will automatically be created. So one of the other functions is that it's actually now possible to add linear custom materials to an element outside the main geometry. And when I say main geometry, I mean outside the main geometry, I mean on corbels, on panel thickness, and in end caps. So right now we have here we have a height. Let's just like this here. We have like this, and then when I click it here, so before what you say in the older versions of Impact, if I tried to add this linear custom material in this end cap here, it was not possible. It would just get rejected, because the insertion point of this linear custom material was outside the main geometry, which is the thickness of the wall. But now it's possible to add this one in here in the element, and it will not, get removed if you update or something like that, remove it again from the element, of course. So this is also a quite new feature that allows a bit more flexibility to add pipes and stuff in, for example, cobbles. So let's just try and save this element here, just so we can see how it looks, like this in here on the shop drawing. Actually, when I said that it was only impact 16 features, I lied a bit, because this one here is actually also available in impact 15. I just thought it was a cool feature and I wanted to show it to you, for the ones who didn't know it, of course. So as we can see here, the big end cap. So one of the other things we have added here in the production drawing is the possibility to modify the reinforcement list down here. So let's say everyone knows that today, if you add a reinforcement, I'll just call this one here B1 and add this one here like this, and I will actually add one more, B2, just to show everyone how it is today when we add multiple reinforcement. So as we can see here, the reinforcement lines down here are in 2 rows. What is possible today is, in Impact 16 Q1, is it to have only 1 row, and I would just like to show it to you. Let's see here if I can find the folder. Let's see here. Can you move it up for me, Oskar? Ah, perfect. Let's see here if I can find Oskar's Impact 16 standard impact in here. It gets a bit technical. I hope it's okay. US, let's go UK is, I cannot remember, is it 2, 4? I'll just do a list. AS1. Let's see here. AS1. So this is the block we put in when we generate it here. So what is possible here is that if we want to do like this, I want this one here also, and then move it so it's not next to each other, but above each other instead. I save this one here, and of course, when I want stuff to be redone, I can purge it. I will just purge everything. Doesn't really matter. And then when I redraw here, we can see that it will put the block beneath each other instead of next to each other. So this will, give it a bit more flexibility in terms of space here in the tables. This is also available for the custom material table. So one of the other big things is that in 16 that we have been looking a bit more into the transport and the stack, how it works. And one of the big things is that we have added what is called I call it total measure or transport measures. I don't know if there's a a more correct term, but that's what I call it. In here in the wall properties, we have a new field called total length, width, and height. And as we can see in here, if I click on the dot, we have the base length, the base width, and the base height. As you can see right now, the total width of the element is actually not 150, it's 1636. And this is because of the end cap. It takes the end cap into account. So when you put this element on a stack or transport, this will be taken into account when putting it on. So it's not only end caps, it's also custom materials, cobbles, and partly reinforcement, The reason why I say partly reinforcement is because the reinforcement is, as everyone probably know, is that it's only on the shop drawing. So we don't have any, what you say, measures or what you will say. So you will have to add, what you say, reinforcement manually into the dot 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 if there are any reinforcements sticking out of the element. As we can see here, I just added a custom material here to my shop drawing, and the measures is actually going to, as we can see here, is going from the bottom to the top edge of the custom material, because the custom material is outside the element. This is what you say, a project property setting that you will have to add with the measures, as we can see in here. Let's see here, dimension total length and height on elevation view, set to yes. Then will it measure the total width, length and height on the shop drawing. If you want this one here to be active also, take the total measures into account, then it's what you say, a standard admin setting. But as we can see here, that it have added 50 millimeters in the length and 25 millimeters in the top. So this will give what you say, the designers, and what you say, not only the designers, but this will give more control over the exact, what you say, measures of the element instead of only the base measures of the element. There's also been added 3 new features in the custom material definition. I'll just take this one here, doesn't really matter. In here, we have the possibility to choose if the custom material should be, if there should be material takeoff on the custom material. Also, if there should be shown an annotation text for walls only, how deep the custom material is placed, and also if the custom material have some kind of treatment. So let's just try and take the depths in here. If I do like this one here, edit, and then say this one here should be placed 50 millimeters in here, and do like this. Then is it not active? Let's see in here if it's active in here. Front and back, show this from front and back. Maybe we have not put it as active on this one here. 311. It helps, to turn on the different features when you're going to show it. Otherwise, it's just a bit silly, So if I update it now, then there should be a distance. As we can see here, the distance is 100. And this is probably because it's from the back. So you can choose if it should either be from the front or from the back, and you can see here on side 1 Danish that it means that it's from side 1, the 100 millimeters. Another thing that have been added to MX 16, I keep saying that, but that's also what the webinar is about, is when you draw a reinforcement group, or not draw it, after you've drawn it, that's not much here, like this, then is it possible to have a 3D view of the reinforcement group in here. So for this, what you say, particular reinforcement group, it's not that, what you say, complicated, and maybe not that necessary, but for more, what you say, complicated reinforcement groups, it could be nice sometimes be nice for the production to see the different what you say, stirrups and stuff in a more detailed 3D representation over here, which will probably make it easier in the end for them to do it out in the production. What also have been added is that it's possible to have multiple rows, because some of the elements are a bit more heavily reinforced. Then will the reinforcement group view be quite large, or what you'll say, in the layout. So, and typically the paper is more has wider width than a height. So it's possible to split them into different rows and define these rows here, how many you want in each row, and what the distance should be between the rows, which will, in the end, at my opinion at least, give a much nicer, look for the reinforcement on the drawing. If you have a lot of reinforcement groups in the element. We also made some different improvements to linked. I will just take a stare here. So many of you that do linked elements know that when you are having a linked element, then when you do the shop drawing of the element, then will it not give you anything. It's just a completely dead drawing. What do you call it? You have to draw all the lines yourself. So I'll just fill in here. It doesn't really matter. It's just more that it needs the information. So we have my linked here. I will just add this one here. And insertion point here. So when I create the drawing of this linked element here, the drawing will just be empty. And the reason for this is basically that linked elements can be everything. It doesn't have to be a stair. It could be a dinosaur. It could be a chopper or something like that, if anyone wants to draw that. So we don't know, Impact doesn't know how to draw it. But what we have added in here, in theory, just looks the same like always. But in here on the linked, we have added two little icons. This one here, say draw linked. So as we can see here, it says insert linked views. So this one here lets us insert the different views we have of our linked element, which in the end gives us a better possibility to utilize the the 3D solid we have made. So you can just put in the different views here. I'll just put them all in here. But as you saw, you could choose whatever picture you wanted to put in. I'll just put it in like this here. So it's possible to put in these different views, and therefore have a better blueprint or something like that, based on the 3D solid you have in here. And of course, then you can add the different custom materials, the different reinforcement to your linked, and utilize the counting of the reinforcement and the custom material, so you can get all the information you need when you print out the report. So that's basically also what I had